is brought to you live by Bahamas Maritime Connection.
What is maritime?
Maritime, simply put, relates to navigation or commerce on the high seas.
Some say money makes the world go round. I say ships move the money that make the world move.
Who navigates those large international ships?
How often are international ships required to be surveyed in this respect?
Maritime also protects our seas and waters by way of our local Bahamas Defense
It is
Force.
very sad to say that out of 1,500 plus ships that are registered under the Bahamian flag, only a very small amount of Bahamians are employed. Maritime Matters.
Unpleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Maritime Matters. Whether you're listening via radio wave or 97.5 FM, via an internet radio app, via Cable Bahamas, channel 951, or via BTC Flow TV, channel 606. We appreciate you and we humbly welcome you to our show. We now encourage you to check out our YouTube page, Maritime Matters Bahamas. Here you can listen into all of our previous shows at your own leisure. So feel free to hit us up on our YouTube page, Maritime Matters Bahamas. Again, pleasant good evening. I am Captain Glenn Bain. This is show number 24, my good people. And tonight, we got a guest that have in recent times become a household name. Here sits a fella that has in the truest sense literally operated a speedboat in blind pilotage fashion. Without physical sight, this cat drove a speedboat all the way around New Providence. And since he didn't have enough fun in the process, he ventured into driving it also around Paradise Island before wrapping it all up. So our show tonight centers around a boating venture that was undertaken during the 2009 Bahamas Independence celebrations, a blind boat challenge. We will also engage other international ventures undertaken by persons who are totally blind. So hold on to those courses, folks, and join us on this engaging and most informative Maritime Matters discussion. Our sponsors for tonight's show are One-on-One Pharmacy. As I always say to you, you know the deal. You want to be treated with utmost royalty and respect? Check out my little cousin Shantia McBride and her lovely team at One-on-One Pharmacy. Fill your prescription at the store or send your refills via the online site, oneononepharmacy.com. That's all one word, lowercase, oneononepharmacy.com. The two locations are East Street South and Charles Sanders Highway. When you walk in the door, you're going to feel good. They treat you right, people. Say hello to my good cousin Stephanie when you get in there and let everybody know Maritime Matters sent you. We are also sponsored by Bahamas Maritime Connection. We provide a full slate of ISPS maritime security services. Thirdly, we're sponsored by Totally Secured Security and Investigation Services. They are headquartered in 8 Mile Rock, Grand Bahama. For all your security guard duties or security investigation needs, please give my good buddy Andrew Starp a call at 819-8944. He and a certified security team will see you straight. That's Totally Secured Security. Call Andrew at 819-8944. To the listening audience out there, it will be remiss of me to go any further and not introduce our wonderful producer. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you the insatiable, the man of the hour, the man with all the power. He is fully able and quite capable. The one and only Craig Gibson. Yes, he's hailing, people. He's hailing. He wants you going. Look, we got ourselves some fun tonight. I can tell you, man, this show is going to be off the chizzy. Off the chizzy. You're listening to Maritime Matters. On this show, we talk maritime. Maritime Matter airs weekly at 19:30, 7:30 p.m. You're listening to us now, you know the time, 7:30 p.m. every Tuesday here on Love 97 FM. The purpose of our show is to highlight persons that made significant contributions to the maritime sector in the Bahamas and to sensitize Bahamians of opportunities in the maritime sector. Halfway through the show, we will open the phone lines. The number to call will be 326-8255. Again, that's 326-8255. And I can tell you, you're going to call in tonight, people, because I can tell you our guest is going to have us rocking and rolling. And he's such an extraordinaire. I don't want him to, he think I don't know what time it is, but I got to let him know. Let's again highlight our standing maritime heroes. Blast from the past, may all of their souls rest in peace. We have the HMBS Flamingo champion skipper, senior commander, Amos Roll. Port controller extraordinaire, blast from the past, Mr. Leon Flowers. Sloop sailing pioneer, the legendary, the one and only, and the great Captain Raleigh Gray. And of course, our 2 Olympic sailing gold medalists, Sir David Knowles and Cecil Cook. Those are now, and I know there's one going to be added very shortly, but those are our standouts in maritime blast from the past, people. May their souls continue to rest in peace. All good men, all good men. Now, let me just I'm going to run over our current maritime matters because my guests don't want me to take up too much of his time. See, this is show tonight. I don't tell him. This is your show, my brother. I only here to be a catalyst, but you know we got plenty to talk about. So let me just run through. Okay, the Russian Navy takes delivery of the world's longest submarine. Russia just got delivered to them a 600-foot twin reactor research submarine called the Belgorod. This beast carries 6 Poseidon nuclear-armed torpedoes. And we say it's the longest submarine ever built. Not the largest, but the longest. Twin reactor engines. You know what that means? That means the submarine itself is propelled by nuclear reactors. They ain't got no engine that runs on fuel. They run on nuclear. Thus referring to it as a nuclear submarine. Thus, the reason why most ports around the world will not even allow it in the harbors. Because you don't want 2 nuclear reactors sitting up against your dock in harbor. Because if they explode, you got a nuclear fallout. That's how dangerous they are. But they're very powerful. And they have 6 intercontinental nuclear torpedoes with warheads of nuclear. That's why they're so deadly. So they could be anywhere in the world, and they got intercontinental nuclear torpedoes, which means they can send that thing from continent to continent through the waters. Ukraine seafarers needs help to maintain their careers. Now, I don't know how much you know about maritime careers from people in Ukraine, but Ukraine has 76,000 seafarers that works in the international fleet. And again, that's only 4% of the world share. So there's a lot of jobs out there. If 76,000 is only 4%, you can imagine how much jobs out there. And we don't have much Bahamians on, and we need to do something about that, eh? So 47,000 of the 76,000 are officers, and 29,000 are ratings. This is very uncommon and quite interesting, because most countries have far more ratings than officers, especially leading countries like Philippines and India and countries that really focus on getting their people on these international ships for jobs. But Ukraine has almost twice the amount of officers as they have ratings. And of course, most of the people are engineers. I know that for a fact, because just moving around in the international maritime world, most Ukrainians on board ships are engineers. They don't do much deck stuff. So approximately 30,000 of the 76,000 seafarers they have are currently out of work due to the invasion of Russia. And if they are in Ukraine, they are mandated to fight in that war. They cannot leave. On a monthly basis, over 10,000 Ukrainians are signing off of contracts from ships. Over 10,000 every month. Of course, if they go home, they got to be getting involved in the war. But of course, most of them, their families are out of in other European countries because of the war, so they wouldn't be going back into Ukraine. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to get out, because an estimated 84 ships with over 500 seafarers are stuck in ports of the Black Sea due to the Russian blockade. You know, Russia got mines all over the Black Sea. So if you can't move your ship, because your ship move and touch one of them mines, it's a kabloom, and you'll be down at the bottom of the Black Sea. You don't want that. What else going on? The third thing we got here is the ITF. That's the International Transport Workers Federation. The ITF won a case for lashing in ports to be done by dock workers. What do they mean by lashing? No, they don't mean the cat nine tail people. Lashing is simply strapping down containers. They're lashing containers to the deck of ships. So what's been happening is when the ships come in port, and this is in Europe, when the ships come in port, what the owners used to do is they used to have the crew on board lash down those many containers as they come on the ship. But the ITF say, look here, this is work for people ashore. We have longshoremen, and this is what they do. Because in the past they had some ship crew while they were lashing containers, because they were not aware that the boom of the crane was coming their way or another container was being swung, they got hit and some of them got killed. So the IDF put up that argument. So look here, these crew ain't designed, plus you overworking the crew. We got people ashore specifically trained to do this, so allow them to do it. And they put it in court and they won the case. So now when ships go to take on containers and take off containers in ports, the crew could relax, let the dock workers go and work the cargo. And that's what that was all about. So that's, again, a big thing in the news in maritime. Okay, my time is almost up, and I'm almost finished. We're talking maritime, people. You are listening to Maritime Matters. At this point, we move to our first break. And when we return, we will engage tonight's most special guest. So please, stay tuned to Maritime Matters.
Friendly staff is ready to serve you. Visit us today for all your prescription and over-the-counter needs at our East Street South or Charles Sanders Highway location. We're open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and from 9 to 4 on Sundays. In a rush? Send your refill scripts online at oneononepharmacy.com or ask about our convenient pickup service. One-on-one pharmacy, providing personal health care with people at heart.
And she's going to be on the show that Tuesday. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Maritime Matters. Without further ado, I am pleased to introduce tonight's guest. He hails all the way from the great city of Nassau. This cat, ladies and gentlemen, has been one of the great talk show contributors from the inception of private radio station talk shows in the Bahamas, way back in the 90s. A household name and the most familiar voice over the airwaves. Here sits a brother that spent the greater part of his lifetime not being able to see, but notwithstanding, continue to make far more headway than the average man that has full sight. There's a saying, that in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. But that is hardly the case if this blind kid is around. In his blind state, this brother traversed his way to the mountaintop, wrestled down the Buddha Dane and chewed on the betel nut. So brace yourself for quite an interesting, a tastefully provocative, and a very informative maritime discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a close friend and a brother, the spectacular Jerome J.T. Thompson. Jerome, my good friend, welcome to Maritime Matters.
Well, what more can I say? After such a glowing and a flamboyant introduction, thank you, Glenn. Appreciate the opportunity.
Well, you deserve it, man. You earned that. You earned that. I've never had such a celebrity in the studio, to have you here, and everybody already knows the voice. So, like I told you while we were coming, this is your show, my brother. I don't do my part. We can take it from here with you. So tell us, where were you born? I mean, I already tell the people you're a Nasuvian, so.
Well, I mean, yeah, I was born right here. First of all, let me remember my grandparents' good manners and my parents' good manners. Good evening, my fellow Bahamians. It's nice to see all of you.
Indeed, indeed.
And I trust that you all are doing well. I was born right here in Nassau, as you mentioned. My mom, Olga Wallace.
Olga Wallace,
Yeah.
okay.
Hail from Cat Island.
Okay, oh, you from
Orange
good
Creek.
stock.
Orange
Orange
Creek,
Creek, Cat
yeah.
Island. Cat Island got some strong people.
Indeed. And my natural father was born right here. He died two years ago.
Oh, wow, God bless his soul, man.
And
I didn't know.
but I was brought up under the able and loving father parentage of Bishop Lindo Wallace.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
your granddaddy?
Yeah, he's my stepdad.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful.
So I'm privileged.
So which area in Nassau did you grow up?
I grew up in the Grove area, the over the hill Grove. My earlier years were on 8th Street, the Grove, and Robinson Road, right where Foot Seeds used to be in that very same building.
Oh, in the same building?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a beautiful building.
And then we
It
moved.
was always big and pretty like that?
From what I can remember, it was a house. So I don't know how pretty it is now.
Yeah, oh, they fixed it up pretty good. Yeah, fixed it up pretty good.
And then we moved on.
But you say that's the Grove. You what you mean over the hill Grove? It's only one Grove.
No, man.
No, there's only one Grove. No, there's the
okay.
Grove and there's the White Grove.
Okay. I get you.
Yes,
I
sir.
got you on that one. I hear you, bro. And so Bahama Avenue for a number of years, and then from Bahama Avenue, well, all of my growing up years I did in the Grove. Let me put it that way.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
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 Nice area. And your sisters and brothers, I mean, you had sisters and brothers?
My mom has 6 kids. I'm the eldest. Celebrated my birthday yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Oh, yeah, belated happy. Well, I did tell you yesterday, so yes.
Yes, indeed.
We're not getting any younger. We're not going to talk the age, because age is nothing
no.
but a number.
Well, I don't mind. You know, us men don't have no hang-ups about
no
mentioning
hang-ups at
our
all.
age. I turned 5'9" yesterday.
The big 5'9".
5'9", yeah.
Yes.
My mom has 3 kids. I'm the eldest, and a sister, then a brother, then a sister, then a brother, then a sister.
Okay,
So
that's
she has
keeping
6
it
kids in total, yeah.
keeping it rolling.
Yeah.
Very good. So, where did you receive your education while you were growing up, Jerome?
Well, let me first of all say that I was born with physical sight.
Right. Good to know.
Yeah, I was born with physical sight.
And how did that develop with you?
Shirley Primary was my grade school. Actually, I went to Big Pond Primary for about a year.
Okay, so you went to Big Pond.
Yeah, and then
Before going to Shirley? Or?
yeah.
Okay.
Then I was transferred to Shirley Primary.
How you got
School.
all the way out there from in the Grove, though?
Well, my grandparents
Yeah.
used to live in Hawkins Hill.
Oh, that's Shirley
So
Primary then, okay.
back in the day, you know, the village really and truly used to raise the child. So
So you spent some time in Hawkins Hill as well?
yes, oh yeah,
Okay,
oh
good.
yeah.
Right.
So we used to spend time with our grandparents during the week and go to school from them
Right,
to
right.
Shirley Primary, and then
Then
from
come home
Shirley
for the weekend.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
beautiful.
And then from Shirley Primary, I went to C.I. Gibson.
Okay.
Yeah.
You went to C.I. Gibson?
Yeah. I spent my 7th grade year at C.I.
Only 7th grade?
Only 7th grade. That's the year in which I lost my sight.
So you and I must have been there together. I did CI from 73 to 76.
I went to CI in 74.
Yeah, so you and I would have been there together.
Yeah.
When you came in grade 7, I was in grade 8.
Ah.
'Cause don't forget now,
That's right.
I older than you.
Exactly. Yes.
So we didn't know each other back then, but Here we are.
We might have seen each other.
Here we are.
Just never knew. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're right.
right.
And
Very
so
good.
in the 7th grade, April of 75,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I lost my sight. And I'll get more into that as we go along.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the things or some of the things you enjoy doing despite your lack of physical sight,
Well,
like hobbies and recreational activities?
Well, before I go there, if I may, I forgot to mention a few of my other educational experiences that you'd asked me about earlier.
Right?
After I lost my sight sight at CI,
Yeah.
I went to the Salvation Army School for the Blind for 4
Okay.
years.
Oh.
From the age of 12 to the age of 16.
Right.
And then from there, I went to Perkins School for the Blind in Watertown, Massachusetts. I spent a year up there.
Oh, you was a Macaron for a while.
And then, well, hey, I loved it up there, whatever it's called.
I'm sure.
I love those Indian summers, believe me. Those were
Yeah.
wonderful times up there for me.
Beautiful.
And I was transferred down to Southwest Miami Senior High in Miami.
Okay.
Spent 3 years
You're a
there.
real city boy.
Well, I mean, I love it.
Miami's the big city now.
That's what they say.
I spent some time in Bimini, man. When they say they go into the city, they ain't talking about Nassau.
I hear that. Straight
Yeah.
over Miami, huh?
Yeah, they talking
And,
about Miami.
and then I went to college for several years. Unfortunately, because of some illnesses and stuff, I ended up having problems to the extent that I was not able to complete my college experience.
Wow.
So I have college experience, but I did not get a degree.
Okay.
But I studied music. I was a flute major, music major. And
That's what you did in college, music?
music major, yeah.
Wow. So you played the piano or
The flute.
the flute?
The flute was my principal.
I thought you would have been a Stevie Wonder man. Why didn't you play the piano?
I mean, I could play the piano, but I haven't played it in a long time. The flute was my thing.
You preferred that,
loved
yeah.
the flute. That was my heartstring.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah. So that's the long and short of my education history.
Okay, so some of the hobbies and recreational activities that you engaged after you realized that you were blind and that you enjoyed. or didn't enjoy.
But I laugh when you ask me that question only because one of the things I used to enjoy doing with my brother, who's in South with me, his name is Tony.
Right.
Our grandparents used to have a farm out there on Carmichael Road that they used to caretake.
Okay.
And he and I used to go climbing trees and jumping through trees and stuff. So that's one of the things I used to love to do.
This after you was blind?
Yeah.
You could have climbed trees.
What?
What type of trees you climbed? Like pear tree?
Plum tree,
Okay.
Juju tree, cherry tree, you name it.
And didn't
Coconut
fall?
tree. No, I never fell out of a tree, thank God.
Well, you do better than me. I fall over one tree one time.
Yeah, I had to be very
branch break on me though.
Oh well, you wasn't looking where you were going. I was looking where I was going hard.
That deli was juicy.
Must have been something sweet up there that you
sir.
couldn't resist, eh?
Yes, sir.
And
So climbing trees was one of your hobbies.
I mean, for me as a boy growing up,
Yeah,
yes,
outdoor activity.
I love romping in the bush.
Okay.
We used to have a lot of fun time back then. Growing up, with
Mm-hmm.
our grandparents, they were farmers, so we used to have a lot of outdoor times and stuff.
Activities, yeah. It's
And
beautiful.
and for me, I used to love. When my grandparents used to farm on Hog Island at the time, and it was Hog Island.
Oh yeah.
They had a farm from sea to sea.
They own that property?
No, they used to caretake that one.
Oh,
there
that's
too.
one of how rich you guys were.
Boy, they kind of rich, but only they were caretaker farmers.
Yeah, well that's good.
Riedel and Alpheus Miller, they were from Orange Creek, Cat Island as well.
Okay.
And
Beautiful.
so I just simply fell in love with the outdoors. So anything outdoorsy, I used to enjoy doing it. Going on the beach. As a matter of fact, when I came back from school in the States, from university, because I did go to University of Miami for a while.
Right.
One of my cousins and I, his name is Philip, we used to actually jog from 3rd Street to Grove on Bahama Avenue. There we used to run from here out to the Long Wharf Beach and back non-stop.
So he would be holding your hand, I assume.
No, actually, I used to have he and I we stand together before we start moving, and we put our inside elbows and we're touching up, and so we coordinate our movements, and as his right arm go forward, my left arm go forward, so we just kept running like that. So we were just moving in step.
It's beautiful, man.
So that's the way I used to run. So I used to enjoy, being physically active and all of that kind of stuff.
So you can still run then if you could run that way. If you get a right partner, could you get back into jogging?
I suppose I could if I had somebody that I could
right partner,
trust,
yeah.
like
your cousin.
Yeah.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I trusted him so much that I used to go diving off of Long Wharf.
Wow.
Off of Long Wharf with him out there, guiding me and back to the dock and everything. That's how much I trusted him.
Well, the one good thing with Long Wharf, you don't have to worry about sharks. Because you can't see if sharks are there, you ain't gonna know, eh?
Well, if anything out there was coming at me, I wasn't gonna know.
That's right, yeah. So, no fear.
But it used to be funny, and man, you see it. So those were the kinds of things I did as a boy. And then when I went off to school in the States, that's when I got into canoeing and bicycling and stuff like that.
So you always lived an active life, JT. That's beautiful, man. More active than many people who can see.
Well,
especially these days.
I was born with sight.
Yeah. So you started out being active.
Yeah, I started out.
So you just kind of continued, although you couldn't see.
And my lack of sight never stopped me from being active.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
So other than the Bahamas disability adventures, were there any other NGOs or civic organization that you're part of? Or are you still a part of?
Well, the answer to that question is yes.
Okay.
And I'll start off with the very first one, the Bahamas National Council for Disability. I became a member of that in the summer of 1989. I'm still a member. That's 34 years now.
That's a lot. Yeah.
34 years. Yeah, 34 years now.
89, that's 33.
years.
Yeah, this year make 33, yeah.
34, 33, 40. Yeah, somewhere along that line. 33 years, you're right.
Yeah.
In June of this. Wow, that just happened. I just realized that. June of this year. Yeah.
So you're going on your 34.
And I'm also a member of Civil Society Bahamas, which is the apex body in the Bahamas for civil society organizations.
What is that? That's not that's just a regular.
It's a civic organization. It's a non-profit NGO that's headed by Dr. Anthony Hamilton.
And what do you do? I mean, what do that organization do? What that body does?
Civil Society Bahamas actually advocates for matters having to do with civil society, basically.
Just partying? I mean...
No.
I don't know. I am lost.
Legislation and national policy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's totally different from ours. I'm glad I asked you that.
Advising the government on certain things. The Non-Profit Act, for example, that came out in 2019.
Pertaining to what?
To non-profit organizations, yes. It was the
there's an act that came out?
Organizations Bill.
Oh,
that came out in 2019.
Okay, that's just before the hurricane came.
Somewhere around that time.
Okay.
Yeah. Civil Society Bahamas was very instrumental in ensuring that piece of legislation was fair and balanced to the non-profit community in the Bahamas.
Beautiful. You're still part of that organization, I take it.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, and I'm also a member of the National Commission for People with Disabilities.
Okay.
I was just given that privilege within the last year, prior to the last election.
Right.
That was my first time from July of last year to November, and then after the election of September last year, I was recently reappointed by the Davis administration to the Disability
beautiful.
Council.
Congratulations, man. You that means you're doing some good things.
Well, a lot of people don't think that I am. But I don't blow my horn. I don't go around talking about the things that I am in.
Well, if you're blind, Jerome, and you involved in all these things, you're involved in a lot more things than I'm involved in. I must say that you're doing big things.
Well, I mean...
that's the way I would see it, and I can speak from my perspective.
Well, I appreciate, the complimentary remarks. But for me, Glenn, I believe in being a nation contributor as well as a nation builder.
Okay. So back to maritime. At what point did you become interested in maritime activities?
Wow. And I'm glad
you talked about climbing trees, so it couldn't have been when you were small.
I'm glad I mentioned my grandfather.
Yes.
And before I even continue that, let me say that I kind of wish, in hindsight, that I had done that event in his honor, in his name. Because my grandfather, Alpheus Miller, who was my mom's father, he was a very instrumental person in my life. He was a boatman and a fisherman.
Wow. And a farmer.
A farmer, a boatman, and a fisherman.
Wow.
Yes. And his eldest son, who was Thaddeus Miller, from Orange Creek, Cat Island, he also was a boatman.
Okay.
So I got to fall in love with the sea because of my grandfather, Alpheus Miller, and uncle, Thaddeus Miller.
And how did that encounter with maritime activities actually happen by way of your grandfather and your uncle?
Well, I mean, we never went out on the boat much with them. But I used to watch my granddad all the time working on his boat, fixing the engines and stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, because of the farm that they had on Paradise Island, we used to go on the beach all the time. So I used to love when we walking over Paradise Hog Island Bridge.
Yeah.
As it was back then.
Yeah.
I used to love looking down at the water and looking at the houseboats down there in the Hurricane Hole Marina and all of the boats.
And along Potter's Key, yeah.
Potter's Key Dock.
Even Fat Island had a houseboat out there.
Yeah.
Selling chicken back in those days.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Fat Island, you go on Potter's Key Dock.
Fat Island chicken.
Get your chicken.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can remember my little older than you, so.
Yeah. Oh, only at least by 10 million seconds.
All that counts. so
that's
can we just open the phone lines now as we continue? We got a lot of questions here. So
that's up to you.
If I can get my producer to assist us and open in the phone line. So people, if you want to call in, please, the number is 326-8255. And we'd be happy to take your call. Otherwise, Jerome and I are just going to keep going on into our boating venture. We kind of wrapped up on his personal, how he get to where he is, and now I'm going to start asking him like what inspired and motivated you, my brother, to pursue the Blind Boat Challenge?
Well, ultimately and honestly, God. And this is how that happened. But the event was on July 11th, 2009.
Right.
And in February of that year, I was sitting in Breezes at a social event. It was called the Afterglow Show by Kirk Johnson, who used to host Matters of the Heart on another radio station.
Right.
And we were just enjoying the afternoon, and one of his brother's fiance and I were talking, and she's from England, and I was telling her about some of the things that I love to do, and I mentioned boating. That's something I really wanted to do as a person without physical sight. And she simply said this to me, well, why don't you do it?
Just do it.
Simply just like that.
Nike.
And the moment she said that, Glenn, I saw a flash, a literal light go off in my spirit.
I'm going to do it.
And that is exactly how it happened. God just did it right in my spirit. And as the young lady and I were talking, she was telling me about people that she knew about who did it, and other blind people who did similar things in other countries. And the thought hit me, well, if other people could do those things in their countries, why can't I do something in this country as a person without physical sight?
Yeah, and you say 2009. But the event was in 2009.
Yeah, July 11, 2009.
So at what point were you at this function? This is like February, March?
Of that same year.
Of February?
Of that same year, yeah.
Oh, so
February of 2009, I was inspired.
When you gave me that call and say you were looking for somebody to give you some guidance and all the rest of that, I thought this thing was like a year in the making.
No, man. It came together quite quickly as God did it. And
Beautiful.
Speaking about you, of course, to let the public know, Glenn Bain indeed was my trainer. We got to make sure. And I was introduced to you by Sheila Culmer, who was the then president.
Beautiful lady,
of
right?
the Bahamas National Council.
Sheila and I worked together when I was with Ministry of Transport. And she was Sheila was with in the, I think, ministry. She was with the local government. I think she was
government or transport or something like
that.
At the time.
And she and I we got very close. I used to go in her office all the time and talk to her. She was like a mother to me, but she was such a beautiful woman. Yeah. And so she called me up and she told you about me.
Yeah, she's the one who told me about you. Right.
And then when you mentioned her name, I was like, well, if Sheila tell him, then I have to do this.
Yeah, she gave me your contact or had you call me. I don't remember how it happened, but yeah, we got in touch, and then everything fell in place from there. Yeah. But that March, April, May, June. Yeah, 4 months. We started training in March. April. I
always thought that you was like a year into this because everything was in place. And let's talk about securing the vessel. How did you go about securing that vessel for this task?
Now, I must give credit to that connection to Lundy. The late now Lundy Robinson.
Yes, Lundy. The dock master extraordinaire, and this is another person who could have very well made that list of maritime enthusiasts, experts from back in the day. Lundy was just that person, man.
James Johnson, who is his family, his dad was known as Baba J.
Right.
Sailing Baba.
Right. Yeah. Right. I know a son that
James Johnson. I used to go to his barbershop.
Okay.
And talking about it, and he was the one who actually pointed me toward Lundy.
Okay, beautiful.
So I call.
You see how the pieces come together, eh?
When I tell you, God orchestrated every single thing. All I did was to follow the lead as God blessed me with them, and then acted on them. Right. Simply put. And then in respect to the Defense Force, in respect to their participation, Sheila Culmer, again, she was the one who actually nudged me to go and to call and speak with someone at the Defense Force. Commander Evans, that's his name. Commander Evans.
Oh, my good checker partner. Made him play checkers all the time. He's a good guy.
Right.
We call him the Buck.
Captain Evans.
Yeah.
And then I was guided to. I think after you and I started to do our training, we met with the then port controller, Captain Anthony Allen.
Captain Anthony. I think there was some point Tellis Bethel had a part to play too with it. He was the Commodore at the time.
No, he wasn't the Commodore at the time.
Yeah, Tellis was the Commodore.
No, not 2009.
Yes, he was.
Really?
I'm telling you. Yes, because you mentioned him to me a couple times.
I mean, I know Tellis Bethel personally.
You mentioned him to me a couple times in this venture.
I believe he became Commodore well after we did that event, though. I stand to be corrected, but I believe so. But getting back to Lundy, though.
Yeah.
After I spoke to Lundy was the one that God blessed me with regarding finding a boat to use, and the name of the boat was Got to Go. You remember that?
Right, Got to Go.
It was a 21-foot.
It was a beautiful boat.
21-foot well-craft.
Right.
It was owned by Mr. Bethel at the time.
Was it Bahamian Bethel? Or?
Yes, Bahamian Bethel. And I never met the gentleman personally, but I want to thank him again.
Yes.
For having allowed you and I the use of his boat. He didn't give it to us. It would have been a wonderful gift.
And not only for the event, but also for all the training.
Yes, the entire training.
That's right.
And the event, and we trained from March.
And who paid for the fuel though? Because me and you had to dig in our pocket for that.
Well, sponsored. The event was completely sponsored, and thank God paid for. Every dollar that was needed, God opened up the door for that to happen. The event, the fuel in particular, was paid for by several. Well, for the training phase of it, it was paid by sponsors that we got from different people, and I'll mention some of the sponsors in a minute.
Okay.
But the fuel for the day of the event, and this is where I begin mentioning the sponsors, or some of them that I can remember, was by Peter Roca.
Right, I remember.
Yes, Peter Roca was one of the key sponsors of the event.
Right.
He sponsored the fuel for the actual day of that event and the banners and everything.
Yeah, good guy, Peter Roca.
Derwit Knowles supported
he sponsored
Mario's. No, I'm not. Mario's, yes, to an extent.
Mario's Pizza, that is?
No, Mario's bowling.
Oh, bowling.
Yes.
Yes.
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood, yeah, but they were also in Mario's section.
Yeah, at that time, yes, in the same complex. Quite a number that partnering the Ministry of Tourism, the Bahamas National Council for Disability, the partnering entity. They helped to organize the event. And, I want to give some special acknowledgement to persons who were instrumental, like yourself, in really hands-on helping me with this event. Of course, you were my trainer.
Right.
Sheila Culmer was the president of the council at the time, so she allowed us the facilities to have meetings.
Meetings, I remember that, yeah. Yeah.
Sherry Fountain. Right. She was the faithful one who always drove me to the dock.
Right.
Faithfully every day.
That was your ride.
Yes.
Patrick was bringing you sometime too, eh?
Truly, Patrick Forbes, yes.
Yeah.
He's a general advisor of Bahamas Disability Adventures.
Beautiful. Yeah, and Patrick was there too.
Right. And we had Jennifer Ramming, who was the treasurer of the organization, Aketa Smith, Riviana Smith. Oh, how could I ever forget my dear friend Riviana?
Riviana and I grew up in the same yard. She told you?
Yes.
Yeah, we were in the same yard through Apple Street, Roll Avenue.
She is the now secretary of Bahamas Disability Adventures.
Yeah, beautiful lady, her Mummy Barra, and the man, all the brothers. Yeah, I remember Rivi very well.
So that's the color of the team, so to speak.
Yes.
That was supporting me. And I'm sure that there are a few other persons I probably have forgotten.
And you didn't mention Captain Allens.
Yeah, we mentioned him, yes.
You didn't mention Captain Allens, who was the port controller at the time.
Remember I mentioned his name a while ago? You went to meet with him. He was the one who gave us the authority to
break the speed limit.
Yes, for the event. Yes.
Yeah, break the speed limit. We had to get that.
Public. Yes, I was just about to say to the public, you cannot speed in Nassau Harbor.
Not only Nassau Harbor. Once you're within 200 feet of land, you're not supposed to do more than 3 knots. Wow. And in a direct line coming to shore, you're not supposed to be speeding because it's a swimming area.
Well, you see, you having been a former deputy port controller,
I knew.
Know those things.
So we would have gotten that authority by way of Captain Allens.
Yes, and did you not speed?
But you could do whatever speed you want. Just be careful.
Be careful and be safe. Yeah. So we had the support of the Port Authority. Captain Allens he didn't go on the actual event, but he did stick around. He did come out there to show his support, and I appreciated that.
And whoever was the Commodore at the time, you said it may not have been Telespect. It had to have been either Roderick Bowe, Tellis Bethel, or Clifford Scavello. It had to have been one of those three.
I think it might have been Scavello.
It may have been
Either
Scavello.
You know, because that was 2009.
Well, again, let's thank all three of them because we
True enough. They were all
we don't know.
wonderful,
But the Defense Force played a major role in that whole. They were there. They were there.
And let me tell you,
And Samuel Evans, Captain Evans,
yes,
would have probably given the role to make that happen.
yes, he was.
Although he wasn't the Commodore, he was right there next to the Commodore and
He
rank.
was the one responsible for assigning the vessels, I think.
That's right. That's right.
I don't remember the exact title.
Yeah.
And we had two Defense Force vessels with us that day.
Yeah, and they were loaded. They were really there for us. I can tell you.
And Glenn, let me say this here. You know what really excited me about that entire event?
Yeah.
Not that I did it, as a person who is unable to see.
But that excited me.
Well, see,
because you were the one behind the throttles
True,
and the steering wheel.
And I'm glad you were inspired and excited over the fact that I was able to do that. But what inspired and excited me was that I was able to be used by God to have so many other Bahamians enjoy our country. You know how many people had fun? They never saw this island ever before the way they did on that day.
Yeah. Because the Defense Force boat had a good crowd of people who were civilians who just never did boating.
There were two of them, the two Defense Force boats. One was a 41 footer.
Right.
And one was a 47 footer. I think they were both in the 40 foot.
Yeah, they were I can forget the name of the type.
Lord, I wish.
Yeah, but they were harbor patrol boats.
Yes.
That was designed to patrol the harbor.
And they escorted us around the entire course, around Paradise Island, which was the morning leg.
Right.
And then around Nassau, which was the main leg from 12 noon to 3:15.
That is correct.
Yeah,
that is correct.
And the Defense Force escorted us around the entire course for the entire day. God bless you, Defense Force, and may you continue to live long and continue to protect our waters in safety. Thank you so much.
And they are always there to assist in these type ventures. I must say, I'm a former Defense Force officer, so I got to blow our horn.
Yeah, you would know for sure.
So, Jerome, when you sat behind the steering wheel and you felt the throttle and the steering wheel, and I said to you, well, this side is port, that side is starboard. If I say port, this is midship. How did you imagine it would have been that way? Did you foresee being in that cockpit, being like that, or was it something different from what you imagined?
Well, having seen boats before, I knew the outlay of a boat, and
but you never drove one before.
No, I never.
So that's an experience even for somebody who can see to sit in that cockpit and understand. These are two throttles. This one goes ahead, that goes astern, that one goes ahead. And when you push this one ahead, the boat will go this way. When you push that one ahead.
Well, that boat was
and the steering wheel.
That was a single engine on board. We dealt with that.
Okay. Yes. You had one throttle. I see? You was blind. You was blind and you remember better than I does.
I had my hands on it all.
You was blind and you can remember better than me.
Yeah.
So it was one engine. Yes, it was nice engine in the back there.
It was 250 horse.
250.
250
Not
horse.
Mercury.
No,
it was a Yamaha, yeah.
200 horse.
And what, 29 foot, 31 foot boat?
No, 22 foot well
22 foot Wellcraft, yeah. So, boy, that could get up and it had, like I say, got to go. We got to go.
Playing real good and real quick and easy.
So you seem to get pretty comfortable behind that cockpit rather quickly in the training.
I loved and still do love the sea. I just had it in me.
Yeah.
And again, I dare say that came from my grandparents.
You used to seaman, although you can't see you, it's just in your blood.
Hey, I tell you.
Just in your blood.
And so I loved looking at boats. I sat on boats before that event.
Yeah.
I felt the wheel, but I never steered a boat until that event.
Okay. And you never handled the throttles to speed up a little bit, to slow down a little bit.
Event, no.
Because there was a time. Now you got to remember we were doing very high speeds at some points.
Well,
And if you made a mistake, if I said port 10, and you went starboard instead of port, you could have hit some other boats.
Yeah.
But you were just so good at taking those cons that we made it through without any kind of even through all the trainings.
Like I tell, and again, let me thank God for the fact that never once did we have a mishap.
No.
Never.
Not even in the
once.
training.
Not in the training, not in the event. The only thing that ever happened to us when we were leaving the dock from one of the training events, the engine broke down.
Yeah.
When we were about 100 feet away from the dock.
And it's a good thing Lundy was there, because let me tell you something.
He was always there with us on the training.
Yeah, I must admit, right? I am a veteran boat captain or ship captain, but I am not a veteran small boat handler.
Got it.
And Lundy, and a lot of guys that grew up on the family island with those small boats, they can handle them. See, I never really handled those small boats. And I couldn't tell you that. Because if I had to tell you that, you'd be, man, you know, Captain. But I know the concept of doing it. It's just that I didn't have the kind of experience. So many times he would take the boat and he would dog the boat, and I was so happy.
Yeah.
Because he have that knack, and a lot of people have that small boat knack. But I'm a big fella. I deal with big ships, and I docked it when I had to. But I can tell you, I was not very comfortable docking boats that size.
Well, the two conditions that the owner of the boat at the time gave is that, one, we provided the fuel, and two, that Lundy was to have always been on the vessel with us. When we were training.
See, you never told me that part. You made all of the arrangements.
No,
I only know he was always there, but I didn't know it was a mandate that he was required to be there.
He was with us on every single training.
He certainly was, and I was so happy.
And that was the confidence that the
owner had. Yeah.
The owner needed and wanted.
To know that his boat was safe, yeah.
Yeah, that, you know, so, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying, we coming through the harbor, and anything could happen. And the thing is, when we got to the south side of the island, because the wind was coming out of the south.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Nassau.
Obviously, the harbor is the south side of PI.
Yeah, so we went east first.
Yeah.
And then we came around the south side, and once we got past East End Point, it started to get really choppy.
Boy, that was the most wonderful part of it for me.
And you look like you wasn't sure because you asked me, you said, Glenn, are we okay?
Well, you know, to let the audience know, the day of the event was choppy. It wasn't raining. It was just breezy. So
from the south. Only from the south. Because in the harbor it was pretty calm.
So it was quite choppy. And yes, I did ask you, my trainer, I said, sir, being that you were at that time a 13-year experience, I mean, you still are 13-year former defense boat. I asked you, do you think we can do this event today based on the weather conditions? You said yes. And Glenn, the moment you said yes, that's all I needed to hear. When I heard the voice of experience telling me,
it's
as
okay.
my trainer, yes, we could do it. That's all I needed to know. And we did the event. And we, again, no matter how choppy it was, and it was choppy, it was a safe, fun-filled event.
Yeah. But like I said, once you pull the throttle back a bit to slow down on the thumping.
Yeah, you know,
we were good.
Yeah.
And when we got around the western side where Garland Key is, I was able to put the throttle down again.
Well, no,
and let it rip.
Actually, the two roughest parts of that course that I remember was East End Point, coming around that for the because and that's when I realized, whoa,
we got some chops here.
and that's I said
we're really boating here.
That's where the term Bahamian roller coaster came from. That's what I call that ride. That's what it felt like.
Because we had Utah doing videos.
Yes, Utah Taylor was the.
There were points where Utah was actually on his back with the camera because the boat just showing him.
Oh Lord!
And I don't know how much of a seaman Utah is, but Lord. I didn't get the feeling that he had much sea experience.
Oh gee! I wasn't even watching what was going on.
Well,
sorry.
You didn't know because you couldn't see him, but I could see him.
But the thing is, for me,
how did you get Utah on that trip though?
He actually, and I must say, he was one of the sponsors too, because he sponsored the videography.
Oh, wow.
Yes, of the event. He sponsored that.
I was so impressed with his performance, I can tell you, because he wasn't letting that, he was not missing a point on that, although he's getting sling here and sling there, but he was right on it.
Yeah, man, he was definitely doing his thing. And going around, they call it Dick's Point Day. the eastern point of Nassau.
Yeah.
Man,
Well, East End Point, yeah.
It felt like a roller coaster. So for me, it was fun because as the boat rode those waves up and down, it was like, I mean, thank God the boat was of good size that it could easily take those waves. And then
Yeah, it wasn't a
around
big
the eastern tip, the western tip of the island, that's when we hit some of the big rollers again. But how big were those waves, Glenn?
They were not that big, you know.
4 footers? 5 footers? I don't remember.
No, they were like 5 footers.
5 footers?
5 rolling though. They were not sharp.
Yeah,
they were rolling waves. They were like swells.
Yeah.
Because the wind was coming out of the south. So
Right.
because of that, there was nothing, you know, they came all the way from out of the tongue of the ocean and all the way up. So they were rolling. And that once we pulled the throttle back a bit, and the defense force boat, those people are having fun too, because I could have seen them on a distance, and well, they were not as close as we were to the shoreline, but they were there, and they were getting that same thumb, that the rolls that we were getting, and they were having a ball.
Yeah.
You know? And the people from, how did you manage to get all those people from Ministry of Tourism, you know, because there was so much involved people. I saw Anthony Allens himself. He actually came on board the vessel with us.
Yes, he did.
And you know, a lot of people really was behind this event.
You know, to answer the question about the Ministry of Tourism, because it was the Independence holiday weekend.
Right.
There was an Independence. I don't remember what the title is at this point. An Independence event that was being held on Prince George Dock. The idea was to speak with the organizers of that event to be recognized as a part of the Independence festivities, which we were unofficially, but they made it official. So we passed on. Remember, before we went around Paradise Island, we went down there by the Prince George Dock, and then we went to our event. But we just got in touch with the relevant persons as we were guided. My team and I were guided to get in touch and to make things happen. But it did come together quite nicely, and I was pleasantly surprised.
So in hindsight,
13 years ago, by the way, it happened.
Yeah.
13 years ago.
In hindsight, what was your biggest obstacle? I mean, you seem to don't have hardly any obstacle at all, but was there any obstacle that stand out in your mind that you had to surmount in order for this thing to just happen anyway?
No.
So everything kind of panned out. Like you say, God had it.
Yeah, Glenn, it truly was a God-inspired and God-blessed event.
I agree.
And what's his name? Someone, if I could mention this as an obstacle, this would probably be the only one. Somebody told me, "Boy, you can't do that."
They try to discourage you?
That's the worst thing they could ever tell me. Boy, you can't do that. You can't do that.
Two things they didn't know, They didn't know your determination, and like the song say, "Oh, they ain't no me." I'm never scared, and you was determined. So together it had to work.
Glenn, I had three things in my favor. Ultimately, God.
Yes.
You as an experienced boat captain.
Yes, sir.
And a good team.
And a very good team.
Very good team.
Yeah. And supporters, a lot of supporters.
I was surprised too at the amount of people, and even to this day, I haven't asked you or anybody to tell me how many people came out there, because I couldn't count them.
Yeah. It was a lot of people.
It was a good.
As a matter of fact, I didn't even know that you were in touch with all these entities. For the event.
I mean, like I said, persons would have, like Mrs. Comer, she would have steered me to the Defense Force.
Right.
That's how come I got to connect with them. She steered me to you. And somebody else steered me to the Ministry of Tourism, and then somebody steered me like James Johnson to Landy Robinson. So, everybody knows somebody that you need to know to get something done.
That's right.
Kind of thing. So, just a network.
But just know that it all circled around you. Like you say, somebody had to tell you who to go to. But it's you who pull it all together. And about what, 5 months, 4 months? About 5 months.
February
to July.
February to July.
It's like 5 months. Mm-hmm. So you pull all this together in 5 months. And it went without
a hitch.
Without one. Just so smooth.
Single hitch, yeah.
And I have to say, for a blind man to make that happen.
But Glenn, see, that's where I will always honor and recognize God.
Oh yeah.
Because even though the weather could have stopped us, God did not allow the weather to stop us.
No.
He gave us enough of a thrill experience with the waves that it really could, it felt good, but it wasn't so bad that we couldn't undertake the event. And every dollar we needed for the event, God bless us with sponsors to cover every penny, so we were completely paid for. Every person, every connection, everything that was needed. And, the role I played, yes, I was blessed by God with being the visionary and the key organizer, maybe. But Jerome Thompson could have never pulled that off without the support of without the team that I had.
In addition to that, there's probably no other person in this country that could have pulled it off other than Jerome Thompson.
Well, I don't know that.
Well, ain't nothing else pull off sense. But anyway, Jerome, before we go into our next phase, right?
Yes.
I just want to throw those numbers out again for the callers who want to make a call and make a contribution or have a question or just say hello to Jerome. The number to call will be 326-8255. That's 326-8255. Please feel free to make that call. So, what other types of challenges, Jerome, blind individuals accomplish in the Bahamas and also internationally? What do you know? I have seen a couple of them. What do you know? Any in particular?
Yeah.
First of all, the Bahamas. I don't know. Other than you, what else blind persons did as far as activities like this?
I don't know of any other person who's in the Bahamas who is blind who did anything before.
Right.
Nor since.
Wow.
That event in 2009, and I hope someday that other blind people will step up to the plate,
right,
and get spread their wings and do something. Blind people in particular, but people with disabilities in general, because there is no limit to what one can do once you have God on your side, once you have a good vision, and once you have a support team.
That's right.
Yes, because internationally, there's a lady who snow skis.
Yeah, woman skis.
Skiing down a mountain,
at
man.
Snowbird.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they got a French blind sailor.
Blind sailor, and then
that did ocean voyages.
Yeah, one of the things I learned in 2009, there was this blind pilot who flew a jet fighter.
That's right.
Okay? A jet fighter. More than, I think, faster than the speed of sound. A blind person piloted a jet fighter. I know of blind folks who go skydiving, parasailing, in the United States and Europe. And so, come on, man, there's no limit to what one can do when they put their heart and minds to it and follow the gifts that God has given them.
I was watching a program with this blind architect. He actually owns his own firm.
Yes.
He turned blind eventually, but he's still drawing big projects.
His first name is Chris.
That's his name. Yeah. Oh, when I saw that program, I watched the program and I was so impressed with it.
I can't remember his last name.
And then they got a blind driver that failed. He tried to break the land speed record.
As a matter of fact, I don't know if he's the same person, but I know that there's a blind guy who also drove a speedboat. And I mean a speedboat.
Like very high speed.
More than 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And he did that in England, I believe, some years ago.
Oh, we got a call coming in, Jerome.
Okay.
But we'll come back to some of these blind people. I got one or two more to talk about. Let's just see what the caller wants to say.
Yes.
Calling you on Maritime Matters Live. Hello.
Good night, gentlemen. Good night, Captain Glenn Dean. And good night, JT.
Good night.
Good night to you, sir.
How you doing?
Yeah, man. Mafulia.
Hey,
let me start with saying this. Captain Glenn, I would like to thank you for your support on showing your support on when I was laying my mother to rest on Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to thank you.
Yes, well, we grew up together. Your mother was all out.
Barry, and the only two people that's missing was Fat Boy and Chops.
That's right. Chops is gone, and Preston is in Freeport.
And Conrad.
Yeah, that's right. And Cardi and Conrad. But, you know, I was so happy to be in presence of you and Ivor and, you know, so many people from through the corner. It's always good to meet up again, man. So, Irv, I just want you to know that I was happy to be there, my friend.
Yeah, and I was so happy to see you, man. I really appreciate it. Now, JT, I remember when you went round the island on the boat,
yes, sir.
visually impaired, man. But that really impressed me a lot now. But JT, you know me and you represent the same party. We vote for the same party. I know you have enough for one of the things that the DNA and things.
See, I don't know what party you vote for, so I don't know that yet.
Right.
You ain't disclosed that yet.
But you really impressed me, though, when I saw you did that, though. You say, I think the only next man, blind man, could do that. Papa, my Papa, do that. I want to
but you know,
see Papa.
If Papa or anybody, see, when I was blessed with doing that event, one of the key motivations was to inspire other people who are blind in particular, but with disabilities generally, to go out and do the same or similar things.
Right, you impressed me, but I was so impressed with you. I said, man, that really was impressive. Because I had the camera with you doing it, Mary doing the show on the news. That was really awesome.
Oh, okay.
But JD, you and Glenn, you see this independence was just gone. You see they honored the four men, who lost their life in 1980 on the Flamingo. But that's something what you and Glenn was preaching for a little while.
Yeah, they were on the list as well as every single one of the 19 people that were on Flamingo. Irv, they were also on that list. I wanted to save it for next show, but since you brought it up, man, I was so impressed with that recognition. Yeah. But you know what I'm pushing for? I'm pushing for reparation. They need to get our money, man.
Yeah, but you remember the last time I tell you now we got to work on the $5 million for the
there you go.
But they listened to the show and they heard you. But Shady was making a lot of noise about it for a little while too.
That's right.
And a well recognized, it's well recognized now to know that they're doing something. But they need to do a little more.
Yes.
I agree. Well,
a lot more, at least with the money part.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, I'll finish sit back and enjoy the rest of the show like what I do every Tuesday.
Yeah, Brother Muff, thank you so much, my friend, for calling in. And
I appreciate your kind words, buddy.
You continue. You continue to take care. Take care.
Every time when you call Michelle, you might be the first one out the gate, but every show you go on, JD, make a lot of sense.
That's right.
You normally be on the same page.
I try my best, buddy. Thank you, man.
All right.
Okay, Irv.
You gentlemen.
Take care of yourself, buddy. Roger. Yeah, Jerome. We were on. We were talking about some of those international.
Yeah.
We didn't mention a blind golf player.
Glenn, there's probably not I don't know of a blind basketball player.
No, they ain't gonna find that one too often.
But there are many
sports,
types of sporting and recreational activities that folks throughout the world are involved. As a matter of fact, in April 2010, I was privileged to go up in representing Bahamas Disability Adventures to an event up in Tallahassee, Florida.
Yes.
Florida Outdoors Sporting Association, Disability Outdoors. They had a few days worth of events for people with disabilities. Water skiing, and I actually went water skiing for the first time in my life.
Right.
Up there, sitting on a water ski that that was fun.
You actually water ski?
Yeah. For the first time in my life.
You get one on me. I never did it.
Well, I mean, that was a water ski made for people who are paraplegics. So,
right.
You sit down and they had people guiding you.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, wonderful. You enjoyed it?
Yeah, man, it was fun. And people, oh my Lord, there's so many exciting and wonderful things. And Glenn, I would love to be able someday to bring an event to the Bahamas through my nonprofit, with God's grace and the help of some sponsors, to just showcase in the Bahamas what people with disabilities throughout the entire world do and can do.
Yes.
I think that will go a long way to help people here in the Bahamas with disabilities to become motivated and inspired.
Yeah, I think there was a point when we were trying to organize an amputee that skis.
Okay, but yeah.
And you driving the boat.
Yeah, that's
it didn't come off, but we were so close to doing that.
Well, let me just touch on that one because I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes, because of the event that you and I did in 2009, I mean, we were planning, my nonprofit was planning to do a number of events. And one of the interesting ones that we came up with, for which we got support, insurance coverage even.
Right.
We got support from the Hot Rod Association, which was the governing body for motorsports in the Bahamas.
Yes, because we had a meeting at that office. My schoolmate, Michael Speeding, Junk. He and I were in the same grade for many, many years. And we got his support and his team support. That was beautiful.
The event that we, Bahamas Disability Adventures, was hoping to pull off, my fellow Bahamians, is, imagine this. A person who is blind driving an outboard motorboat with a one-leg amputee water skiing behind.
That's right. That's right.
We were close to pulling it off, but Hurricane Sandy in 2012 got in our way, and we never was able to get it going since. That was the Blind Boat Challenge event that we actually pulled off partially that year.
Yes.
We had the golf tournament.
Yes.
The fundraising golf tournament
right.
at the Ocean Club. In October 2012 on that Sunday afternoon, but we were hoping to have the event, the signature event with me driving the boat and the one-leg amputee water skiing on that Saturday. But the bad weather got in the way, and but we did have a nice little fun time on Monicue anyway, even though the bad weather kept us on the dock of the bay.
It was pretty breezy, I remember that.
Hurricane Sandy was passing by.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And she followed me all the way to. I went to do a marathon because I was running then, as you probably remember. I was in top shape. I was running marathons, and I went all the way up to Quebec. And do you know that Hurricane Sandy made it all the way up to Quebec behind me? And they cut that marathon event into half marathon only, because they know the weather was coming. And it sure came, because after I got back to the hotel, those trees started to dance, and I was like, "Oh, these people really got some good information." Yeah. The first, it was unbelievable. The same hurricane that stopped us stopped me from running a full marathon.
And then in 2000,
a couple of days later,
in 2013, Bahamas Disability Adventure again was close to pulling off another event where I would have been driving a triple-engine outboard 37-foot custom-made motorboat from here to Florida.
Right.
And
back. Yes, I recall that one.
The boat was being donated by the then owner of the boat, and all he would have wanted was publicity.
Wow.
Because he actually created the boat for people with disabilities, so we were going to have it internationally broadcast as well as locally. And we went so far as having made a proposal to the Ministry of Tourism at the time, but a number of things happened that prevented the event from happening. Yeah, we were
very close. I remember that. I was looking forward to that one. I saw it as a free trip to Miami. Because we were supposed to stay overnight.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were going to go to Miami and then up to Stewart County, Florida. Yeah,
that's right.
And then come back down and then go to Bimini. We were going to stop at the Bimini Big Game Resort.
That is correct. Yeah, and we already had all arrangement in place for that.
Yeah, man, we already. Yeah. Man, those people already had given us consent to dock there. They were going to organize and host and etc. etc.
But can't we still do that? The hurricane and gone.
The boat is no longer available.
Oh man!
The gentleman who had it no longer has it.
I see.
But you know, who knows what else? And you know, Glenn, because next year being our country's 50th anniversary,
something got to happen.
I'd like to see if we could pull something off next year, God willing. Only God knows what that could be or maybe.
That's a variety of things. It's only a matter of having the logistics and everything come together like it did when we did that 09 event. Mm-hmm. So what are the plans for your nonprofit organization moving forward, though? I mean, who are involved in the organization along with yourself?
Well, right now, the Bahamas Disability Adventures is an activities-based, not a membership-based nonprofit. We are mandated to cater to people with disabilities of all ages and all disability groups in sports and recreation, humanitarian areas, like the donation of various different products and stuff.
Right.
We've not been active much in the past several years because of funding. I must be quite open and honest with that.
Yeah.
You would remember we tried to get a boat donated from the from the government one of those confiscated boats.
Yeah.
But to do some stuff with, but that
didn't work out.
No, that didn't work out.
But I see you at some point. I think you started to work on a Hatteras. Trying to get a Hatteras organized for the sea. You and Patrick.
Well, Patrick, that's his vessel.
Oh, so that was his private.
Yeah, that is his private
that was
vessel.
in the venture. Right.
What he has done is he has given Bahamas Disability Adventures the privilege of using his Hatteras for fundraising activities for the nonprofit. So as soon as we're able to get some more work done with the boat,
right?
The organization would be using it to take persons with disabilities out on rides around Nassau and Paradise Island, similar to what we did some years ago. But it will be, and these events will be sponsored by the sponsors of the event. Persons with disabilities themselves won't necessarily have to pay.
Right. That's a beautiful thing. That means they can just go out and enjoy these things.
And it's a 55-foot Hatteras.
Right.
And I would humbly and respectfully say, if anybody is out there listening and wouldn't mind sponsoring my non-profit organization, Bahamas Disability Adventures, to be able to get that Hatteras fully up and running, that would be wonderful. We need about, I don't know, $10,000 to $15,000 right now to be able to really make it happen. And my nonprofit is duly registered with the government, so we are fully in order. They call it in good standing. Good standing,
invested, and everything is moving along and beautiful.
Yes, and persons involved with the group. We have just a board of directors and an executive team, all having the same members. Myself, president, Riviana Smith, treasurer, and Brenda Harris Pinder,
right,
as the treasurer.
Okay, so we're 20 minutes in. Actually, we got less than 18 minutes left, Jerome. So we got to move to break here, and when we return, we're gonna try and wrap up based on all of what we need to finish up on. And so, producer, if you could just take us to a quick break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Maritime Matters. Got my special guest in the house, Mr. Jerome J.T. Thompson. Our discussion, of course, is on that 2009 event when J.T. drove a small, fast boat, and I can't remember what brand it was, but it was a single-engine Wellcraft. It was 21 feet in length. We drove it all the way around Nassau, from Nassau Harbor to the east, all around the south, came to the west, come through Garland Key, all the way around past Balmoral Island, back into the harbor. And when we got in the harbor, he feel like he didn't have enough. He said, well, we're going to do PI now. I said, no problem, boss. Whatever you say. And we circled Paradise Island, and then we got back in the harbor again. And that was the day that history was made in the Bahamas, and not only in the Bahamas, in the entire world, because that event made the list of international events that blind people would have done out of the norm.
Now, you're telling me something I didn't know.
Oh yeah, it's on the list, my brother.
Oh, okay.
And not only is it on the list, it's on the list that you sent me.
Okay, I'm privileged.
Yes, you did well. I mean, you got to remember, like I say, we were going at high speeds. If a mistake was made either on my part or on your part, both of us could have been thrown into the water.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And worse for you, although we were wearing life jackets, we were not strapped in.
Yeah.
So worse for you is you wouldn't even been able to see while you're getting thrown into the water.
True enough. So yeah, I wouldn't have known how to properly fall into the water.
And the boat was not going to stop.
No.
So the boat would keep ripping because nobody did to pull the trawlers back. So I just saying that.
God, it didn't happen, eh?
Well, God had us.
Yeah, man.
God had us. But I still want us and the audience to realize how dangerous this was.
But Glenn, let me remind you of something that you might not remember to show people how dangerous it could. I mean, the seas could be sometimes. Remember when we were in the back of Paradise Island, and we always went the same direction.
Yeah.
We went east to the harbor, north around the eastern tip of PI.
Right.
And then west on the northern side of PI.
That's correct.
Remember when we were going PI and we hit that wave from that tug.
Yes, yes. We came across the wash. I knew we was going to hit it, but you didn't know.
Yeah.
So you was like, what was that?
Yeah. My thing is, Lundy, you alerted me to that.
But we thought you saw it.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know me, I was just having fun, man.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. But the thing is, when we hit that bow wave from that tug, the boat literally jumped
No, see,
out of the water.
that's what I'm saying, Jerome. See, it jumped for you.
Yeah.
Lundy and I braced because we saw it.
Yeah, y'all consider that.
And we just assumed that
I didn't jump.
it didn't occur to me or him
Yeah.
that you didn't see it. Because
Y'all with that view saying.
we forgot you couldn't see.
Yeah, let's see.
But you was driving the boat.
Yeah, but you see, but the thing is, in that experience, I did not even come out of my chair.
No, you held on.
My-
But again, that was just a wash from a tugboat.
But the thing is,
Imagine if you actually collided with something.
well, thank God none of those things happened.
But there were times when at high speed we were passing very close to other vessels.
Yeah, you mean.
And some of them are coming towards us because they didn't know Blind Man was driving this
But
boat we were in.
I trusted you.
Yeah, you trusted
I
me.
trusted you.
And I am only saying, although you trusted
Yeah,
me,
I trusted you. Thank God.
I had to trust you as well.
Well, of course.
Because
And you did.
if I tell you how to port and you just went how to starboard,
Yeah.
again, both of us were on the vessel. Both of us would have been thrown out.
And remember, let me tell you when that point you just made was ever so keen to my mind when we were ending the event, when we came back through the what do you call it, the cut there on the western tip of PI when we came back in the harbor.
No, you remember we had to go between the pillars that held up the bridge.
Exactly.
Right, and the boat was coming toward us.
But that's my point exactly what I'm
So
saying.
we had to
you.
be, precision was most important.
That's my point exactly to you. We were probably not full throttle, but
No.
we were probably 3/4.
Yeah, we were moving pretty
The thing
fast.
is, we were flying, and the thing there, Glenn, for me is, so that when you said port, when you said port 5,
Yeah.
Every time I hear port, left. Every time I hear starboard, right. I kept on focusing in my mind, seeing every time I heard port, I saw left.
Yes.
So mentally, I was so focused on left port.
Right.
The moment you say 5 port or port 5,
Port
sorry,
5, port 10. Yeah, how to port, midships.
yeah, whatever.
Right.
See, I was, trust me, my brother, I was.
You was right on it. You was right on it. Yeah.
Mentally, I was so focused on you
Yes.
that I mean, thank God for the training because that's what training does.
But that's what training does. Because
yeah,
if I made a mistake
we would
and told you port 5 when I really wanted you to go,
Port
because you
10,
gotta remember when I'm actually looking at you from ahead, my port will be on my right side.
Ah, yes.
And my starboard will be on my left side.
You instructed
So I have to be
me
very
opposite of
careful.
what you were looking at.
And
Oh,
I can tell you that my training as a pilot apprentice
you know,
at the time, I trained with Sir David Knowles as a pilot apprentice.
Yes.
I trained with Eugene Monroe. I trained with Christopher Brown and pilot Garnet Roll.
Yes.
I would be, and there were times when, as a pilot apprentice, they would give you the ship.
right,
And you have to do the conning. And you know you can't make the mistake.
right.
So based on that experience, I was able to be even more profound and more professional in giving the instructions because I was kind of accustomed to doing that with big ships.
So what you're saying to me is,
I'm saying if you had a trainer that wasn't a pilot,
Yeah,
a ship pilot,
that would have been a challenge.
that is not accustomed to
Yeah,
giving cons,
yeah.
right?
I
And they got to turn around. They could make a mistake.
No, but see, what I'm trying to ask you, because Glenn, you're saying something to me for the first time in 13 years that I never knew.
Well,
understand what I'm trying to get
you
at.
just took it for granted because you wouldn't know.
Yeah, I would, because I'm literally, obviously, I couldn't see you. So what you're telling me that you were facing me?
Yeah, I was.
So,
Oh,
when you
okay.
were giving some of those
Okay,
instructions? or you
listen to
were-
me. If I was you now, remember I went to the bow of the vessel.
Yes, you were at the bow. Yeah.
And sometimes I sat down in the bow of the
Yes,
vessel,
I remember
and
that.
I was shouting instructions to you.
Yes, yes.
So I had to been facing you,
But honestly,
with my back turned to the bow.
Glenn, no, Glenn,
I wasn't turned to see where you was turned.
Glenn, what?
I couldn't have been. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to hear me.
On national radio, my friend, this is the first time I am being made aware of that. So
I had to be.
It was a matter of faith and trust, wasn't it?
Well, it was a matter of experience for me.
For you.
Because if I didn't have the kind of experience, and thank God for people like Eugene Monroe and Sir David Knowles, who would have given me the opportunity to exercise my cunning.
Wow.
Right? Because, mind you, when I was in the Defense Force, let me tell you what I used to do. When I was in the Defense Force and I'm coming back off a patrol, especially when I was on the Yellow Willow, on Port Nelson, and all the crew could tell you, we never slowed down that ship. We passed the 1 mile marker doing 32 knots.
Ooh.
Right? Because those monsters, they could have done up to 36 knots.
Right.
But the continuous running speed that you could do without the engines getting in any problems was 27 and a half knots.
Right.
Right? So I didn't pull the throttle back when I reached. Most captains
would do that.
Once they heading toward the 1 mile marker, they'll slow down, and they'll, for that mile going into the base, they'll go slow.
Right.
I never did that. I would keep going at my speed until I reached in the canal near the Marlin Jetty.
Wow.
And what I always remember Joe Forbes, God bless her soul. Joe Forbes, he's passed. I'm a very good friend of mine. His whole family, I knew, from Reggie. But it's Reggie Forbes, I'm brother as well. Joe Forbes was we call him the coxswain. He was on a ship with the Port Nelson with Roger Roll and I, and I was always the special seat duty man for conning the ship from the 1 mile marker into the harbor. Because Roger always gave me the rein. So when I took over from Yellow L as captain, I was already used to this. And my coxswain would be steering a course. And because we're heading north toward Coral Harbor, the course would be something like 010. It wasn't exactly 000.
And that's how you...
It probably was 010. And I will dance around 010 to keep... Because you're now lining up at the ranges to get into Coral Harbor Canal.
Yeah.
Right? Day or night, I'll do this. Wouldn't slow down the throttle. And I would know if I got to say 012, 008,
right.
and I would just dance and prance around those to stay on track, because you got to keep the lights lined up one over the next. And this is how you get into Coral Harbor. This is how you get into Nassau Harbor, the cruise ships as well. So I would have had some experience from the Defense Force before I even became a pilot apprentice.
Right.
And I just nurtured it even more after I became a pilot apprentice.
Boy, Glenn, let me tell you something. 13 years later as of yesterday.
You're just learning this.
This is the first time, and on national radio, no. I see, let me tell you something. What you're speaking to right now,
yeah,
I really would like to see so many other Bahamians get the grasp of this. This is what you call coordination.
Oh yeah.
Faith, trust, and teamwork.
At the highest level. Because you got a blind person driving the boat, and then you got somebody calling him with a back turn.
Yeah, and with your back turn in the direction that we're going to, all the time I thought you were sitting face forward to the bow.
No, you wouldn't hear me because the wind blowing. I couldn't do that.
Well, my Lord.
No, and you might notice that when we got to the southern side of the island, I actually came to the cockpit to hold on. So although I was in front of you, I was still looking at you.
All this time, my brother?
So the only time I would be standing and facing the direction you're facing is when I'm on the side of you. And it ain't often I was on the side of you.
Right, exactly.
Well, so
I want to thank all of your trainers at the Defense Force who would have blessed you with such experience, because that experience is what gave me the ability by God's help to be. Man, Glenn, you see, I just want to encourage my fellow Bahamians, because I know the show is winding up.
Yeah.
I want to encourage my fellow Bahamians, my brothers and sisters out there. There's nothing too hard for any of you to accomplish in your life when you know you have the ability, the God-given ability, and you can put a team together with a vision that is well thought out. Because, yes, as Glenn said earlier, a lot of work went into organizing this event, and it came off well because of the good team that God blessed me with. But Glenn, you see, tonight I am just now feeling the full impact of that event, and this is 13 years later.
That's right.
Because this is the first time since that event that I am understanding the dynamics of how you actually guided me on that boat.
Yeah.
I never even, because all the time I thought you were facing face forward and just telling me port, starboard, port,
no,
5, 10, whatever the case might have been.
No, I had the appropriate experience to get it right. You had the knack to get it right. And it came off beautifully.
So you actually were instructing me backward
Exactly.
from your point of view.
Exactly.
Because your left was right and your right was left.
That is correct. It's like an instructor for gym class.
You are a gifted instructor, my friend. Because
Well, thanks to, like you say, thanks to those that I trained under.
Yeah.
I trained under some good people.
You know, and I would love to see the Bahamas grow from experiences on the Defense Force, because there's so much that I know from the professionalism and the technical aspect from what you're now telling me, that if we could only allow ourselves as Bahamians to learn those types of skills, how to coordinate and work with one another mentally, emotionally, and literally, we would become so much more a better people, man. Because, Glenn, you just blew me away tonight, my brother.
Yeah.
You and I this event 13 years ago, and tonight is the first time that I really had the full impact of how
what we went through,
how for the lack of a
how
better
risky
word,
it was,
how complicated
and risky. Because one mistake could have gotten us thrown overboard.
Because when you were telling me port, you actually was looking.
That was my starboard. Right. That's correct.
Wow.
And every now and then I had to keep turning around to make sure when something is coming close, because sometimes I had to stand sideways, because if it's coming, I gotta watch that. Plus I gotta make sure you could hear me.
And then you never made one mistake.
Well, I thank goodness I didn't. Like I said, I had the right kind of training for it. Thanks for Miss Sheila Culmer, that she had the confidence in me too. To point you in the direction where I was, to say, well, this is the type of person you need to do this.
She did not know those technical things that you just shared on air tonight that I never knew until tonight, that you were actually facing me when you were telling me to go in those directions that you guided me. And so I am the one who was most privileged to have been given. Glenn, that was truly a matter of faith.
But she had the confidence. She had the confidence in me to say, you need to get together with this guy.
As an individual,
right.
Yes.
She don't know the details, but she had the confidence.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Your trainers gave you the skill set that you were able to apply in this event, and God bless you and me to work together in such a wonderful way that event is now history for people in the Bahamas with disabilities.
Indeed, my friend.
Yeah.
And let me just throw my sponsors in here quick before we wrap up, and then I can let you say your shout-outs to who you need to say your shout-outs to. So my sponsors are One-on-One Pharmacy. Yes, people, you all know the deal. They are located on East Street and Charles Sanders Highway. Go there. They're going to give you the royal treatment. We're also sponsored by Bahamas Maritime Connection. We do ISPS security, the full slate, the training, the audits, the assessments and plans. And thirdly, by Totally Secured Security and Investigation Services, my good boy, my brother, Andrew Stirrup, 819-8944. Give him a call. He could help you with security in any aspect in Grand Bahama. So, Jerome, your time. Who do you want to give a shout out to, my brother?
Well, my mom, first of all.
Yes.
I did tell her about the show. So, hey, mommy, how you doing? And,
hi, Mom.
And also my dear sister, Benjamina.
Beautiful.
Riviana, my dear friend. She has been a godsend in the context of the nonprofit.
Yes, nice lady.
And,
my childhood friend.
Keta Smith, who was also part of the team. Mm-hmm. I don't know who else might be listening.
I see at one point you had Gandhi.
Gandhi Pinder.
Pinder there.
Yeah, that's right. And I must acknowledge the radio stations because, Gems FM.
Right.
At the time, Sports Radio. At the time, ZNS played their part. This event was really given.
Don't forget Love 97 now, because they got us doing this now.
Yes, this is your show, though.
That's fine. But my show on the platform of Love 97.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity on Love 97 to share. But my point is, all of the radio stations back then played a hand. And I don't remember them all.
Right.
And I thank Love 97 tonight for indeed, if only to allow us to go down memory lane tonight.
Yes, sir.
Thank them for that, for this opportunity here. But those are the persons to whom I would want to send out shout outs to. Oh, and my dear friend Lemonade. If she's listening, she knows who she is.
I'm sure she does. So thank you, Jerome, for spending time with me and blessing Maritime Matters with your presence and your beautiful voice that the whole country knows. And, you know, we're going to do some more of this. You and I are very close friends, so we're going to keep in touch.
I'd love to see more people with disabilities and none without disabilities go out there and do such things for themselves, though.
Beautiful. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, Maritime Matters out.